Well, the so-called Ketamine Queen has been sentenced to 15 years in prison for providing that ketamine that contributed to the death of actor Matthew Perry. Jasveen Sangha admitted in a plea agreement to working with another dealer to provide the Friends star with dozens of vials of the drug, including the dose that led to his death in October of 2023. Our Melissa Don and legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer join us now for more. So, Melissa, what happened?
Yes, Kira. So as we were just learning that the woman reportedly known as the Ketamine Queen, she was just sentenced to 15 years in prison for providing the ketamine that killed beloved actor Matthew Perry. Now, in court just moments ago, there were moving victim impact statements, including from Matthew Perry's stepmother, who said, quote, "The pain you caused is irreversible. You clearly had a talent for making money, but you chose to hurt people." How sad. That was followed by Keith Morrison, that's Matthew Perry's stepfather, saying, "I feel bad for you. I don't hate you. You're a drug dealer. You supplied an addict," saying that Matthew was funny and brilliant and sad and miserable and happy and generous and kind and infuriating in every way. We also learned that the other person there, Kimberly McLaury, she's actually the sister of Cole McLaury. That is the individual who actually died of a drug overdose in 2019. That was unrelated to Matthew Perry, but he died by drugs that were also supplied by Sangha. His sister speaking to the judge and directing her comments to Sangha, saying, "I texted you to stop selling ketamine. Being caught was the only thing that stopped you." So very, very powerful moments in court just now, Kira.
Well, Brian, we were talking earlier about what was going to influence the judge's decision on sentencing. We had talked about the fact that Sangha, had been talking about a book deal and capitalizing basically on Perry's death, which is just so sad. But then you hear about these impact statements that Melissa just described. Did that all play a part on what the judge decided here?
Yes, and I'll also add to the fact that the prosecutor asked for 15 years and they pretty much got what they asked for. And in federal court, it's very formulaic in terms of how they get to the number of what the sentence will be. And I think what the judge is signaling here is that the math in which the government or the prosecutors went through in terms of determining 15 years is appropriate, even though 65 years was the ceiling here, I think the judge agreed with them in that sense, and that's why he gave them 15 years. It is somewhat surprising to me, though, because all the things that you added, right? The talk about a book deal, the fact that not just one, but two people were killed in connection with this. And then, of course, you have people like, I believe, Debbie Perry, who did not speak at the sentencing hearing, but did submit a victim impact statement asking for the maximum of this case, and they went 50 years short of the maximum. That's somewhat surprising. I would have thought a little bit of a higher number than 15, but in the request, it makes sense.
So then why do you think it didn't go higher? It surprised you. Why? In situations like this, is it usually a lot more time?
I think in situations like this, one where a person is selling a drug that can kill people, I merely lean on my own experience as a federal defense attorney in SNY and EDNY. Whenever you have one who is part of a criminal enterprise that feeds drugs to someone and even remotely dies, you're looking at 20, 30, 40 years, regardless of where you are in that drug production. You could be a middle management, so to speak. But here's the Ketamine Queen of North Hollywood. I would have imagined this is the head of the snake, so to speak, right? 15 years sounds very light for that position, and the fact that those drugs knowingly ended up killing someone, and that person being the Ketamine Queen continued to sell. So that's somewhat shocking to me, but I assume the prosecutors know more than I do in this case, and they evaluated why 15 was an appropriate number. Don't forget, in the federal system, they only serve about 85% of that sentence. She'll be out sometime around 2037, if my math is correct.
Got it. Brian, thanks. Melissa, thank you.